many. And I just, I want to acknowledge all of you because I understand the reason you've shown up for this training this evening is because you really are seeking and coming and maybe hoping to receive that one thing that is going to take your business to the next level. And because of your just amazing dedication to Isagenix and to yourselves and to your training, it's my goal this evening to really walk you through something that has really assisted many people, not just who are financially linked to me, but also financially just, sharing in the Isagenix prosperity. And what we're really seeing is people who are taking this training and their groups are moving super, super, super fast. So with that, I want to get started. You guys can see a little bit about me there. Just some things you may not know about me. I recently have been doing a lot of different things, and I just did a show for Lifetime Television, and that is going to be airing on March 22nd. I talk very candidly about being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in the year 2000 and some of the challenges I've had in life. And although I don't mention Isagenix because we want to stay compliant, when I was asked really what I did to transcend my situation, I said, you know what, it came down to great nutrition, doing things I had never done before, and one of those things was really doing a good cleanse. So that's something that everyone can share, and that's coming up again on the Lifetime Network on the 22nd of March. Now, here is a picture of my Valentine's, and these are my kids and my beautiful husband, Chris. And I wanted to share this picture since it was Valentine's Day, and I know sometimes you may see me on a stage or see me in passing, but I wanted you to get to know me just as Susan, the person, and a mom. And prior to coming onto this beautiful webinar this evening, I was, wiping the table down. I had changed a diaper. We were doing prayers, stories, French homework. I mean, that's my life. And as part of the life that we've been able to create with Isagenix, having both parents at home, it's just been an incredible, incredible journey. And when we first got started, I mean, everything was tight financially. There was a period of time where, because I'd been sick, we were living on less than $32,000 a year, and it was really tough. And we would get a birthday party invitation for one of the kids, and we would have literal panic attacks because we couldn't afford to buy a child's birthday present. And when Isagenix came along, I really had to dig deep and say, what if this could be the thing I've been praying on? And it was a huge investment because back in those early days in Canada, the landed cost of a 9-day cleanse was over $300. And for my husband and I both doing a cleanse, that was $600, which was just insane. But we treated that first cleansing experience like it was worth $1 million a year for the rest of our lives. And you know what? It did become that way. And it's been amazing, the transformation that we've had, not just in our own family, but in the other families. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching the material that I'm teaching this evening, because I was talking to Jay Bennett earlier while I was going through the grocery store, which was my home away from home with 4 kids. And, Jay said, I'm so happy you're training this because this is something people really, really need to hear. So just very quickly about my family, the one you're seeing on the left, the tall, gorgeous one, that's Avery. She's 14, and oh my goodness, she is going to be locked down. That's what my husband says. No boys allowed. The little one sitting on the stool, that's Emery Catherine. And the Catherine, she's actually named after Kathy Coover and Kathy Smith, because if not for Isagenix, I would never have been able to have my last 2 children. The little girl on the bottom right, that's Sari Rachel, and she's 6. She's very precocious. Sari means princess in Hebrew, and she is a total princess. And that's my son, AJ. That stands for Andreas Joseph. He's named for both of our dads, because Chris and I went to high school together. You may not know that one. And so let's get into the heart of the matter. These are the 8 steps to launching a new associate. And so why do we do this? We do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, what we did is a test run in an organization that was financially linked to me. Because what I said is, if we look at our Isagenix business with a 50,000-foot view, how do we train massive amounts of people? Well, number one, we have to get systemized, we have to get organized, and we have to do things that are duplicatable and don't cost anything. Because when we're starting with Isagenix, you may not have a lot of money to invest in your business, but what you do want to create is some time. So what I did is I met with some other top leaders. We created this system, and then I took it for a test drive. And what we found, go ahead and write this down, it's just crazy, is that it increased the likelihood of the conversion to a consultant if you did all 8 steps by 80%. What that means is that the associate was 80% more likely to become a consultant. And in teams that I see that are doing this, they are the fastest growing teams. And one of the other benefits of this 8 steps is that we see it's easier to determine if this person is interested in building a business, because a lot of people come up to me and they say, Susan, how do I find business builders? And one of my things that I respond with is, how do you know you don't already have them? And you've got to be able to ask the questions. So we're going to go through that in a moment. We also find that this system keeps us organized and focused, because the majority of people do Isagenix part-time. It's over 80%. And so if you're carving out those 1 to 2 hours and you have a new associate, you want to have a checklist of things that you're going to do. One of the things that I think Jay would attest to as well is that when people aren't recruiting, it's because they're in overwhelm. And some of the most talented people tend to be the people who we would call busy, or I would say productive, and they're not recruiting because they just don't know what to do when the person gets the brown box. So all of these steps actually occur before the person gets their product. And again, it helps to build belief, it helps to build retention, and you'll see as we go through the steps, they're very, very simple. And in the bottom, what I said is, to make $1 million a year, you've got to give $1 million in service. You want to create the experience for someone that you would want to have. And if you look at the top weight loss programs out there in America, so Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, according to CNBC, the average cost to participate in one of those programs is about $880 a month. Now for Isagenix, even with the President's Pack, it's a couple $100 less than that. It's $557, but with a 30-day, it's almost a third of the price. And those programs, the average person loses about 8.8 pounds, but in Isagenix, we know we're clinically proven to help a person release between 7 and 15 pounds the first month. But what is the drawing card for people to want to go and do those programs? It's the support. And if you aren't a nutritionist, a weight loss counselor, then what do you do to really support the person? Well, the key is to build the belief before the product even comes. And if you don't have buy-in yet, what happens if you have someone return product? It's heartbreaking. Why are they returning it? Because buyer's remorse occurs the moment they receive the email that says, welcome to Isagenix. That's when the spouse says, what are you doing? That's crazy. You're wasting money. They go into work, they say they're going to do a cleanse. People at work say, oh my gosh, why are you doing that? My friend did a cleanse and it was probably that same one, and she turned pink with purple spots and she passed out and she had to go to the hospital. So people become afraid. So you are doing this to manage their emotions, to manage their expectations, and to plug them in as soon as you possibly can. So step 1, we ask the magic question. And this question is, who do you know? So who do you know breaks down to the following, and very, very specific. So we ask this magic question. I'd say something like this. I'd say, Art, can I set you up for success? And Art says, yes. And I say, great. So Art, one of 3 things is going to happen. And the first thing that's going to happen, you're going to get great results. People are going to notice. They're going to ask you what you're doing. And then you have some options. You can either give those referrals to me, and I would be so grateful, or number 2, we can actually teach you how to get your products paid for, or number 3, we can show you how to create an incredible income. And then you want to paint the picture and say, Art, what if I could show you in the next 90 days how to release the top bill that comes to your house? So whether it's your mortgage, your car payment, we could do that with Isagenix. You want to paint that picture. Do you know that the top 1% of people in the world make $29,000 a year? I'm going to say that again. Now, Kevin Steele knows it because he trains with me every day. But the top 1% of income earners in the world make $29,000 a year. I read that statistic recently. So for the average person, you can talk about, oh, Jay Bennett's a millionaire. Jimmy Smith, you can talk about millions of dollars, and although they're attracted to it, they don't believe in it because it's not real to them. But you can begin to show them, what if we can replace this mortgage payment? What if we can replace your car payment? What if we could replace your income? So you want to meet a person where they're at. Very, very, very key. Now, some people, about 3% of the world's population, are big thinkers. In North America, the average person makes well under $100,000 a year. And the stat is that in America and Canada combined, the top 4% make $250,000 or above. So that means that 96% of people don't have a multiple six-figure income mentality. So why are you going and saying, hey, you can make all this money and you're going to be rich? You want to paint a picture that's relevant and real to them. And so when we do that, we say, where do you see yourself, 1, 2, or 3? Guess what? People say, they generally say number 2 or number 3. And that's where you want to go. So this is how you sift out your business builders. If you ask this magic question, I guarantee it's going to be a game changer. And I was doing this training in Louisville, Kentucky, and there was a beautiful gentleman there, Dr. Joseph. And Dr. Joseph, he's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And he said, I've got to go sign up a patient, and this patient is, going to be a product user, but I'm going to go do this. And he said, this person in the past had said, I just want to use the products, but I asked the magic question. They said they want to get the products paid for. He's like, Susan, this works. And it really does work. So if you take nothing away, begin to ask the magic question. And once you know if there are 2 or a 3, you'll see what you do with those people later. Step number 2, you're going to create a welcome email. Why do you do this? You want to build support. And in the welcome email, there's a few things you want to put in there. Number 1, the info for Dr. Ina's call. Why? Because you want to create a relationship with your new person and the company. You don't want to be the person who gets a call at 2 in the morning saying, oh, I'm feeling cold. Is this okay? You want them to plug into Dr. Ina's call. Link them to www.isaproduct.com and carbon copy 2 of your upline leaders that are upline to this new individual. So let's say Jay is my upline, right? So let's say I have a new associate and I'm going to welcome them into Isagenix. Even if they're a product user, I'd say, hello everyone, I want to introduce Art to our Isagenix family. Art is committed to, Art's very lean, but let's just pretend Art, that Art is committed to releasing 10 pounds. In the past, he was an athlete. He wants to get back in shape, and I've asked him the magic question, let's say, and Art also wants to get his products paid for. I'm going to put that right in the email so that when Jay also welcomes Art, he's not like, hey, dude, you can make $100,000 a month. He's meeting Art where he's at. So what this begins to do is it begins to show support. It begins to create excitement for the journey. And there's a sample welcome email on www.isateamsuccess.com. And when you go in the member area, it's, anyone can access it. You put in ISA team member. We don't even collect your email, but under email, put ISA team member again, and there's some great resources. But as part of this, and I did a welcome video there too, so if you want to welcome people using me, be my guest. So with this, I want to share a quick story. So one of the gals in our team who is great at sending out the welcome email, she sends out a welcome email because someone in her team had welcomed someone in and was copied. Well, the person enrolls a new associate, and then the enrolling sponsor goes off on like some trip for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, the new cleanser is so excited. She has 5 people to enroll. And guess what? She has the welcome email, so she emails Laura, my friend, and says, hey, I have all these people to enroll. And if it wasn't for the welcome email, who knows? I mean, this person might have just sent them to isagenix.com. Another quick story, there's a woman in Isagenix, her name is Kim Bowman, and Kim is a millionaire in Isagenix. She's one of the top 15 income earners. And Kim came into my organization, the upline leader put a welcome email out, CC'd me, I welcome Kim. Nothing. For 1 year, Kim does nothing. She had ordered a 9-day cleanse, and over the course of the year, does nothing. After a year, she emails me back. She's like, my membership is up for renewal. I went in my back office for the first time. Who are all these people under me? And meanwhile, I'm the sponsor of Suzanne Hart, so I put Suzanne Hart there and some different people. And I said, can I share with you, Kim, what's been going on in Isagenix? And through assisting Kim with building her business, she went on to become a millionaire. Some of the top income earners in all of Isagenix are in her downline. And if she hadn't had that welcome email, she wouldn't have known how to reach me and what would have happened. So this is why you do it, and get in the habit of do it. doing it. Next is the welcome phone call. And this is, people say, do I do this with my product users? You absolutely do. You keep it simple. You find someone who can relate to your new partner. So for example, let's say for the person that I'm bringing in, let's say I was very fortunate to sponsor Jay Bennett. Well, the great thing about Jay is I know Jay loves football. I know he's a dad. He's a go-getter. He's super sharp. And let's say Kevin Steele is upline to Jay. I'm going to connect Jay and Kevin. I'm going to, obviously, I'm going to ask Kevin when some times are. I'm going to then have Kevin and Jay confirm back with me. We're going to organize the time. I'm going to edify Kevin beautifully. I'm going to say something like this to Jay. I say, Jay, I've got Kevin Steele on the phone, and he is going to be part of your support team. Kevin, like you, loves football, although different teams. You love the Chargers. He loves the Broncos. Don't hold it against him. I'm going to be light. I'm going to keep it light. Jay and Kevin are very close in age. Kevin lives in Arizona. Jay lives in California. And then I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to allow Kevin to ask Jay some great questions. So Jay, what excites you about Isagenix? What are your goals here? And let's say Jay goes, you know what, if the product works for me, I'm going to build a business. Kevin's going to share some of his story, and then that's going to be it. Now, Jay has that relationship. Very quick story that as soon as I'm done this webinar, I'm actually doing a call with someone, and this person is a person who I met on a welcome call, and this person and his wife are very, very famous, very, very famous, and they're about to go into their first cleanse day. Now, I don't spend all my days doing cleanse coaching calls. I do a lot of business calls, but when I have a VIP that appears in the team, of course, I'm going to take that special care. Well, the wonderful thing about it is that this on the welcome call that occurred, that now this person's like, oh my gosh, all the support. So they have the support of their sponsor, they have the support of myself, and they feel totally confident in reaching out because they're also interested in the business. So you want to keep these short. Again, book the time, share the story, edify, and that's it, about 15 minutes. So when I do these, they're 15 minutes, it's boom, boom, boom. Step number 4 is a tour of the Isagenix website. So you've asked the magic question, you fired off that email, you organize your welcome call, and within 24 to 48 hours, you want to take them through their website. Why? Because again, if they go to work and someone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing that, they're armed, they've seen a doctor's story, they've plugged in, they know where to get their answers. So you have a new self-sufficient independent associate, and that's why they're called independent associate, not codependent associate. So specific areas you want to take them to. Number 1 is the placement tree, and what I do, even with product users, I'll say something like this: I just want to show you this placement tree because as you get results, I know you've indicated that you just want to use the products, and I'm so appreciative. If you have someone who really wants to cleanse with you, this is how you place an order. And I show them, click on the placement tree. And I've had people who've gone consultant who were, tried and true, I'm just using the product, but because I showed them the placement tree. I've already asked their permission in step 1 to set them up for success, and I just use this as part of the process. Next, I'm going to show them how to place an order, modify an auto ship. I am not a secretary, I'm a CEO. I was saying on the Health, Wealth, and Freedom team this morning that, if I look at how much money my time is worth, if you want to be a millionaire, your time is worth $500 an hour. If you want to be a multimillionaire, it's worth $1,000 an hour. That's based on a 40-hour work week. So I'm not in the habit of changing people's auto ships. I tell them about the auto ship, I show them how to modify it, and I let them go. I've never had anyone since I've started doing the 8 steps come to me and say, Susan, I got an order that I didn't want. I'm also going to show them events if they've said number 2 or number 3. So I want to get my products paid for, or I want to build a business. I'm going to show them events. I'm going to show them celebration, ICU. I'm going to show them Super Saturdays. Speaking of which, don't forget, I will be in California with Jay and Renata and Ellen on March 10th. Next, I'm going to show them the business resources if they want to build a business. So I'm going to show them the business library, and this is going to take about less than 10 minutes. And honestly, again, these steps are done in that space between when they place their order and when their product arrives. Next, step number 5, PHA, personal health analysis, or 10 steps to success. So if they've said there are 2 or 3, because people say to me all the time, Susan, how do I know when I do the 10 steps to success? And I'm saying, look, if there are 2 or 3, you do it. If they're just a product user, that's going to be a little bit too much for them at the time, right? But we do the personal health analysis with everyone. So here's what we do. Number 1, as I said, if they are yes, they do want to make an income, take them to isagenixbusiness.com, isagenixbusiness.com. And that's where now they can actually email the sponsor after they do each one of their steps, which is really great. And regardless, do a personal health analysis. The people in the team who do the PHA, I'm just going to call it the PHA for now, what I see is that those people are, that takes maybe some extra time, but those people are investing time in the front end to get leaders on the back end. The other reason you want to do this is because it's going to arm you to make some suggestions for the auto ship. So when someone says, I drink a lot of soda, I drink a lot of caffeine, you want to set them up for Isagenix, Want More Energy, or Energetics as it's called in Canada. You want to begin to get to know your person. And I promise you, if someone is stuck, sometimes people reach plateaus, and you all know I do a ton of training on plateaus, that if someone reaches a plateau and you have the personal health analysis, then you can even go to Dr. Ina and say, I have this, can I, email it to you or whatever, and maybe she's going to see something there that you didn't pick up. So very, very key that you get that done. Next, step number 6 is measure, photograph, and IsaBody challenge. Now, here's what we know about the IsaBody challenge, that people who do the IsaBody challenge, they are more likely to stay on auto ship and to be, hugely retentive than people who don't. And this is for your product users. And what we have found, Isagenix has found in tracking them over a 6-month period, is that they order, I can't remember the number, it's maybe 15-20% more product BV than those who aren't in the challenge. And have them take all their measurements from the chart on isaproduct.com. As an aside, something I want to share with you as a nutritionist, women lose more inches than pounds. And there's several reasons for that. And one is that women's health is very complex. And one day I'll do a product training webinar on women's health. I have an amazing slideshow that I do on that for Isagenix. And because of our hormones and because of our body configuration, what happens is, as we're beginning to release body fat, it's showing up in inches, we're gaining muscle, and so the net loss on the scale is very low. Now, Dr. Ted Brooks says that for every 3 inches we release on Isagenix, it's equal to a pound of body fat. So making sure a person takes the measurements left ankle, left calf, right calf. The next time you do cleanse days, do this yourself. And so then what we hear is, someone said to me, well, I lost 17 pounds in 3 inches. I said, no, you didn't. Did you? I said, where did you take your measurements? They go, my waist. I said, no, you have to do it everywhere, because you only have a first opportunity to get that initial story. Take your photos, front and side, and very, very key again. And when you're doing this, I promise you, you're going to have wall-kicking moments. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I've been here for 8.5 years, and Jay will tell you I'm very disciplined. I'm very habitual. It's day in and day out, but I have wall-kicking moments. But when I can have the before and after photos, I keep a special file. I think, okay, all right, this is why we do what we do. There was one that came through my office tonight, a new 100-pound club member, and Larry, I'll have to get that information to you. And oh my gosh, the photograph is just so beautiful. And I think, my gosh, what an amazing story. And here's the thing, I was telling you about Kim Bowman and that welcome email. Well, if that welcome email hadn't happened, this person who's in Kim Bowman's team would never be there, and she may not have ever released 100 pounds. So I think very deeply all the time and meditate on this, like, oh my gosh, that because of a decision I made to do welcome emails, to do the welcome calls, to do all those things, that people release 100 pounds, that they create 6-figure income. So that's why we want to get in the habit of having our people do this, because we want to, have the joy of that as well. Step number 7 is that we want to have them go to isaproduct.com, watch the new video on the 30-day or whatever pack they're doing. It's the how-to, and listen to the CD in the box. And why do we do this? We don't have to be nutritionists. We don't have to be physicians, health practitioners. We have to be great coaches, but we want to help people be self-sufficient. Have I taught you anything tonight that is not duplicatable? No. Can you send an email? Yes. Press click. Can you do this? It's all duplicatable. It's all free, and that's why I love it, and it's a proven winning system. We know this. So we send them here. We say, listen, and I'm going to take a posture. Like, let's say I'm talking to Greg, and I'm like, Greg, listen, you want to release 30 pounds. You've given me permission to set you up for success. I don't want you to touch anything in that box until you watch this product video. And he's going to be like, really? Now he's aching to get in the box. I'm like, no, Greg, you don't touch anything in that box until you watch this, because I want you to get the best experience possible. I want you to get your money's worth of value. And so this builds belief, it creates retention, and it creates a better experience, because oftentimes a person's doing this and maybe they don't have a lot of support at home or in the workplace, but they're armed. They've watched a video, they've seen athletes, they've seen Lori Harder and her her lean abs, they're believers. And this is the thing, you create this belief before they put the product in their body. And here's what we know: if the belief is high before they put the product into their body, they're not complaining about being cold, they're not complaining about not eating, they're not complaining about anything, because the belief is really, really high. So you want them to have that belief. The last step is coach and review. So what I do is I say, look, okay, Greg, what I want you to do is before you start the product, the night before or the day before, I'm going to physically call you. I want you to get out a Sharpie, and we're going to write on the product. So, Cleanse for Life, if he has liquid, he's going to write 4 ounces 4 times a day. Accelerator, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., Isoflesh, 2 before bed. Why am I going to do that? Because I had one story where this person drank a whole bottle of Isagenix on a cleanse day, thinking that it was the cleanse, because they didn't know. It wasn't someone I was putting on the program, it was someone downline. And then, of course, the person calls me, Susan, can you do a call because the person drank a whole bottle of Isagenix? Like, no, what were you doing? So we physically have them write on it, and it's like Isagenix for dummies. I did my first cleanse not properly. I mean, I was trying to be diligent, but it was different back then. I have a friend of mine who did his first cleanse. He ate the whole bottle of snack wafers in the first day. He thought they were delicious, so who knows, right? So we have them get out the Sharpie, write on the products, and now you go. Here's a tip that is going to save you so much time. So I've got Greg on the program, and now I've done these 8 steps. We've done, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. We did the welcome call. It didn't take me much time, but Greg's feeling supported. He knows what he needs to do. And then I'm going to say to him, Greg, during your cleanse, would you prefer texting or email as my best way to connect with you? Texting or email or Facebook. And why do I do that? Because I'm not the person who's going to call him and talk to him for 3 hours every day. My time is valuable. Your time is valuable. But now Greg knows, okay, great. Your, Facebook works, Susan, or whatever. If you enroll a lot of people, then, I have people who physically create a Facebook group, a private group, and they do all the 8 steps, really using Facebook, and then they throw their group together, and then they're doing daily coaching on Facebook. And so it doesn't take a lot of time, but people are supporting one another. And the last thing I want to share is sticky products. So now, the person, you're texting with them, they're getting great results. This is even if, this person's a business builder, you still need them to get a great experience. And then we want to take a look at this. So what is their next order? Ageless Essentials. These are the sticky products. This has a 75% increased retention rate. Isoline bars, 29% increased retention. Slim cakes, fiber snacks, 31% increase. Isodolite Plus is 26%. So we know that the faster we can get these products into someone's body, the longer they're going to stay on the program. And here's the thing I know, that even your product users who say up and down, left and right, I'm not going to build a business, Doris. I'm not going to build a business, Larry. Janae, I am not building a business. Here's what I know, that if you do this and they start to get results, they can become your best business builders. Jimmy Smith said to Carol Taylor, if the product works for me, I'm in. If it doesn't work for me, I'm not in. I said to my sponsor, if the product works for me, I'll build a business, right? And so now our team is over 110,000 people. So did I ever build a business? But we want to make sure that this person has an incredible, incredible experience. And, you know, just to fast forward time, and I want to be in full-on integrity, I do this system myself. I do every single step. You can create a checklist. There's one in the ISA Team Success website. You can create a checklist and just go very quickly, okay, did this, this, this. And what I would encourage you to do, and thank you, Jay, there's a 8 Steps conference call as well on Lean and Clean for Life, is that I would just encourage you to try it with all the new people that you're bringing in and see what happens. But if you want to co-create more consultants, you want to have better retention, you want to get more systemized, you want to get more organized, you want to recruit more, be in the Enrollers Club, I highly recommend it. Now with that, if you want to just chat, if anyone has any questions before we jump off or anything you're taking away, I would love to hear from you, absolutely. And just as an aside, again, if you want to go to, if you want to go to the website to get ISA Team Success.com. There's some documents back there. And again, you don't have to give your email or anything. That's just our Team Isagenix site, which is great. And thank you, Larry. Larry put up the URL for the event that we're doing in Newport Beach, California. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're also getting ready for Power Prospecting in Toronto. That's going to be an amazing event. We have 300 people coming in to train with David Wood, myself, Dr. Paul Anderson, PK Smith, Kevin Steele, and Diana Frerick. It's going to be amazing. We're very, very fired up about that. And does anyone have any questions before we wrap it up? I'm going to open up the lines. I'm going to try and open up the line here. Okay, I'm going to open up the lines. Okay, the lines are wide open. Does anyone have a question? I'm going to put us in Q&A mode. Okay. So if you, we're in Q&A mode now just for the background noise, but oh, thank you, Larry. You rock too. Okay. Is there a system for someone who has thyroid problems? Well, Betsy, that's a great, great question. And obviously we can't make any claims. And as a nutritionist, what I will share with you is that if someone has that specific challenge, obviously they want to work with their physician. And it's the same thing. I can't answer physical questions about diseases because it's not compliant. But, again, I would encourage you to plug into isagenixhealth.net or also to connect with Dr. Ina because she is amazing. But one thing I will tell you is that generally speaking, with physician's approval, everyone should start on the 30-day. So Jay Bennett says, Susan, how do you get referrals? Well, I ask for referrals. I have a feeling that leaders ask for what they want, and if anyone has given you some kind of service where you've paid $100 or more, they owe you at least 3 referrals. So your hairdresser, car mechanic, mortgage broker, realtor, anyone at all, you've just got to ask. I'll tell you something that absolutely, Trudy, I'd be happy to put it up again, that if we are looking for referrals, it's seek and ye shall find, ask and it shall be given, right? So if you are looking for referrals, you got to be asking for them. But I'll tell you, Kathy Coover had built her last network marketing business on referrals. I ask for referrals all the time. And again, Jimmy Smith says that the name of this game is really about building your organization deep. So working with your people, and imagine what's going to happen with your team if you had 10 or more people committed to doing the 8 steps. What would happen? I mean, this is just the first part of the system, just so everyone, oh, thank you, Betsy. This is just the first part of the system because there's other systems. And next week I'm going to be talking about the next thing. Okay, so now this person's getting a great result. We're going to do the gradient of events, and that comes from a training that Jay and I did together and building on that. So how do you take someone and train them to become your next superstar? So yeah, wow, if everyone did all the 8 steps, I mean, it would just rock and roll your business. And the other thing, we're bringing in a lot of professional networkers, and they say, do you have a system? And there's a gentleman who came into our organization, left his previous company. He was making $20,000 a month. And I showed him the 8 steps, and he's like, you really will do welcome calls with me? He's like, most people in other companies making that kind of money won't do those. And I'm like, I love welcome calls, 15 minutes. It's, one and done. It's fabulous. So, be that person, just be so willing. And if you're saying, wow, I've never done those calls. And, another thing people say to me is, Susan, I'm having a hard time getting people to do 3-way calls. Well, the way you warm them up to practice is teach them how to do a welcome call. That's really, really key. Well, guys, with that, it's 9:35, and I promised Jay that I would be done in 30 minutes. I'm going to be here next Tuesday night, and thank you. I really want to put a shout out to my beautiful husband who's listening in. He is my best friend and my great love, and I started my day with beautiful roses this morning, but he did all my technology for me. So if you know me well, that's a big deal. So thank you, Chris. I love you. Thanks, everyone. Good night. God bless, and we'll be here next week. Goodbye, everybody.